It's the 1st of December, so I thought I'd come on for a minute. I've been doing these tapes, Freedom's Journey, talking about where I've been. And, if the process resonates with you, you know, hopefully it is confirmation that everything's okay. Like the old folks used to say, just go through. I called it, like my last video, I talked about it as Dark Night of the Soul, tribulations, your cross or whatever, you know. Even with that, I think it is very important that you have great understanding and perception of it. When God says it's how you perceive that thing. I talk about it being not easy, like labor, not easy. Anything wonderful, relationships, marriage, not easy, but absolutely beautiful. And so um, I think what you really need to remember, especially if you're Christian, if you're Christian, that Christ didn't stay on the cross. you know, he rose from that thing, right? And I think so often, we keep him on that cross. It's just like, no, man. Okay, that's the struggle. That's the yes. He went through it all and he died for us, right? But he rose, and so that's the beauty, that he rose, and so too will we, through whatever it is. He rose for us all. So keep that in mind. That's what the old folks meant by just go through, baby. This too shall pass. And so, that's been my outlook. But God has also given me, great understanding, not complete understanding, but understanding in terms of why it's important for me to go through this process. And so it's been and he's given me the vision of a caterpillar, the cocooning. It was placed in my heart. It was my desire to go up to Mount Shasta, to be cocooned, so to speak, in the sweat lodges with the natives, and couldn't get there because Mount Shasta this summer started burning down. It was burning on fire. He couldn't get there. So he had another way of, I went through another process, which I'll get into, on the journey, Freedom's Journey. So it'll be part of that process. I'll talk about it. But today I just kind of wanted to come on and say how wonderful and how amazing God is. But again, he had me. Oh, I was talking about the dark. I think I called it Dark Night of the Soul. Yes, so that dark place. Then, recently, he's showing me, because 2018 was powerful for all of us. It was very powerful, and some majors changed. Did their major change up out of here. My daddy was one of the first. He was one of the first to check all out and change. And so, here in the end, we're watching, many greats, soar up out of here as well. 2019, so it was a great time for change. For me, I've explained, letting go, and that's continuously. But this was a major, major and pivotal time for my releases. And 2019, as I'm going and moving into this next process, the next level, or a next level, is my expansion. So I'm standing in a more truer form of myself, right? Of self. On my way to the highest self, not there, but that is my journey. And so it's a truer form. So God is like, now expand. And I say that to say, so from the cocooning, I was like, God, I'm hearing like the movement. So almost like the cocoon and the caterpillar, like, you know, biting getting out of the cocoon. Um, or not the caterpillar, but the butterfly, right? Um, so I'm there and kind of pushing through, that sort of thing. And I'm hearing the expansion, and I'm like, I need to get on the highway. I need to get on the highway. So I need to drive and move and hear. Isn't that interesting? It's like meditation. It's like prayer, you know. And I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it because I couldn't get my car smogged. So I've been dealing with this thing for a minute, trying to figure out what's going on with it, right? And so what God had me do, and this is what I'm doing, and it's the coolest thing ever, is I'm lifting. I'm a lifter. And until I move, I'm moving, in a few weeks across state, God willing, but that is the plan. Tomorrow, the next day, I'll be buying my ticket. I was supposed to be out of here Thanksgiving, but financially ran into some snags. The plan they had some snags, so I didn't really have the finances to get out. But now it's happening. But I needed to get on the highway to move, and so I'm lifting, and I look up and realize this is exactly what I was talking to God about. And so I'm driving up the coast. I'm in San Jose. I pick up some Facebookers, some of the big boys the other day from the airport. Took them back. That's a whole nother world. If you're my age, our grandbabies, I'm telling you, man, techies, man, they're a whole different vibration. And I don't have any grandchildren, and I don't have babies. My daughter's grown, but there's some traditions, some authentic, um, God. Well, with technology comes artificial intelligence, right? There is some authentic, God inspired, God ordained intelligence, wisdom. And God took me into that whole zone, and I realized for a moment, oh God, that's why it's important for me to share. Because we're moving into a whole nother age, and there's some things that I know for certain that should not, cannot, must not be forgotten. So yeah. So, if it's for that reason that I'm out here, that was enough. But anyway, I'm lifting, right? So I'm meeting all these fabulous, wonderful people on the road. It's the coolest thing out. Now, one of the reasons was finances, because I had a little glitch. I was supposed to do this project that didn't work out, so it didn't happen. So it's like, man, what do we do? I'm here in lifting. I ran into a sister friend. Why don't you? She goes, I'm lifting. Well, I had talked to several people, and I was hearing like, man, maybe you should Uber or Lyft or something. Maybe that's. But it was totally so different. But I was starting to look into it, and then when she told me, I was like, oh my God, she's like, you should try it. You should try it. So I did. And it has answered the call for me getting on the highway with the music, the next level of expansion, meeting all these people, and I see it already. Some of the things that God has said is going to happen. I'm moving into a new state, different whole vibration of people. And so right now, coming out of a cocoon, I'm now meeting people from all walks of life. That's where I am in the Bay Area. So I'm learning, and San Francisco is really, really, absolutely beautiful, very beautiful. Just it is breathtaking in some places. But people, that's most important, is the people that I'm meeting. and it's incredible, absolutely incredible. I told a woman the other day. She said, I just can't give um, homeless. I just can't do it." She goes, "They are some of the people," and basically she was saying that thing that people do, like they just gonna use it on drugs, or they just gonna. And so I said, that may be true, but how it helps me, is I didn't say anything about me, but I said, the one thing that I think about is, um, you figure, um, the broken places, the twists, um, the hurt and pain, um, that's there, in a person that's, you know, doing that to themselves. If that's our take on it, then man, broken, hurt, pain, keep your eye on that. And she was like, wow, that's true, and because that's somebody's baby. That's how I look at it. I talked about Eleanor Rigby. When you think about the lonely places, not the alone, but the lonely. When you see it, San Francisco, man, absolutely beautiful, and then you see the pain laying all out in front of you, and people want to make them invisible, but they're not. I used to love this song by Gladys Knight, um, Claudine. It's on the movie track Claudine, Invisible. And I remember being really shy. Well, I was really shy when I was, a younger girl, and I'm still, a little shy. But I used to love that song in that way, and now I can't really, play it because it's like, mm-mm, we 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 can't, and we can't even afford to be invisible, and no. And so as much as people don't like the fact that there's some people, because in San Francisco, the Bay Area, they're everywhere, just right there, right there. And I don't care what you want to make it, blame them or whatever. It is a situation that must be not only seen but dealt with. And folks sleeping out in the cold, and blankets on the side of the street, right downtown, on just everywhere. I mean, come on, y'all. And then the other side of it is the wealth of the Bay Area, the wealth, you know. Mm, it's heavy, heavy, heavy. But I'm meeting people, and one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of, because I'm talking about, God is, you know, I have no chains. There's chains because that's the breaking away and that's the journey and all of that. But there's chains that God in this process in this year just broke away. So I don't have any, there's places in me that there's no holes there, and there's no um, fears, and I'm saying in certain places that now it's like I'm moving, um, reinventing. I've been in education for many, many years, totally different movement and process. Um, I'm in a whole another movement of creativity, that this is it is brand new. It's brand new, for me. And so when I'm having conversations in the car about just life or whatever, I start talking about these things, you see how people are inspired by it. And you realize how stuck we've been, and how we put ourselves in these places. I talked to this gentleman the other day, and we're talking, and he was like, I'm getting ready to do the same thing. As a matter of fact, he says he's getting ready to move, and he's over California. California,
A lot of folks, people don't want to talk about it, but a lot of people in California are really not just living paycheck to paycheck. They're living to pay the bills. So there's really the two extremes. There's the very wealthy, and there are those of us who are living here to pay the bills. And this guy was like, I'm over it. I'm done. I've been here 10 years. And then I was saying, it's interesting because the more I'm talking about it, I realize I don't think people are really, really talking about this thing. And this guy says, oh, yeah. He goes, they're talking about it. He says, California is really becoming especially San Francisco, it's a techie, place. So you got lots of money there or you don't. And, you want to stay in there in that struggle. And so there's people who want to leave, but they're in the technology there, and if they could, they would, but it is where they're making their money and that sort of thing. Um, so it's really something else. But I'm hearing more people, wanting to move. I'm having the desire to move, and a lot of folks who are like, I'm done. And if it's not moving from the physical, the actual place, it's moving from um, uh, maybe careers changing, transforming, really looking at where they've been and where they want to go and choosing to go, choosing to move, choosing to do differently. I think, for me in my past, it's very interesting, and I say this, with all humility, and this is hard to say because it will be, a lot of times um, it can come off like boasting or arrogance, but for me, it's freedom to discuss because I have been very shy in my life. But God would give me things, and He placed it in my hands to do, right? But then I would be shy, but He'd give me the big picture of it, and I would share it with people, and they, run with it, right? Because of course it is. But then I'd watch things at times, and it wasn't the complete. It wasn't. It didn't have the fundamentals. The fundamental of what God was doing with that thing, and so I'd get upset. But that's, that's like McDonald's, right? And then after McDonald's, there's all of these burger joints that came out after that. So what, Um, just keep it moving. Get over yourself. Just move. And so now I think that's what it is. And we do have to be quiet with things because people do tend to get excited. Everybody wants to create. It's in us to create, even if we're not creating. Even if we're borrowing and whatever. Everybody wants that thing. We want to be creative, innovative, that sort of thing. Um, but what was I? But anyway, I was really kind of just talking about the next level of expansion, and really, it's funny when I talk about this lifting thing that he's using this for my expansion. As I'm traveling down the road, I listen to real jazz, Monk, and of course Coltrane and Miles and Getz and it's just everybody on this series. I got this satellite in this car, and then I do a little watered down. They call it watercolors on Sirius. And last night I was doing some old soul because I wanted to hear Aretha. I got to hear 3 songs from her. And at one point I was getting ready to turn, and Eleanor Rigby came on. I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But the music, because that's what inspires me and stimulates me, and so it's just incredible. And then just seeing things, so and meeting new people, and that's what God is talking about. That is my expansion. It's the people, the next level, and not just people though, but it is the places. And so, I was driving down the highway the other day, and I was like, wow, it's 2020. I talked to this brother the other day. He got in the car, and he sounded and looked like Jonathan Butler. He had the blonde hair. And so I said, where are you from? I knew he was going to say South Africa. South Africa. I go, I know, I hear Jonathan Butler all in you. And so that's where I pray that I'm there, praying on somewhere on the continent is the plan. Um, but, we'll see. Got lots all in here that it's time to move out. Um, but yeah, it's been a very powerful year. That's basically what I want to say. An extremely powerful year. Powerful, powerful year. So just let's go through it all. Let's keep it moving. And all is well. All is well. Um, so this last month, press through. It should be fun. Not completely easy, but fun, exciting for me. I'm taking that, y'all, for me, and let it be that way for you too. All right, no matter what that cross is bringing and doing and feeling like, man, you too shall rise. You too shall rise. We will rise. All right. I know I was all over the place because I wasn't completely sure why I would need to turn this on. I may, talk a little bit later, but here I am. Be well. Be loved. Peace.